Do you want to treat this like some tiny roster detail? Wrong. When a defender climbs from the practice squad into a real role, when the offensive line gets rebuilt after a brutal Super Bowl lesson, when A.J. Brown is battling Christian Gonzalez every single day, and when Drake Maye starts getting national respect, the Patriots are not just filling time in June. They are warning everybody that 2026 is going to demand courage. If you defend New England without apologizing for it, hit that like button right now, because today is about who can truly carry the weight. Sit with this one. Cory Durden showing up at number 24 on the list of the most important Patriots players is not some feel-good award. It is a message from the trenches. It is New England looking at a defense that carried massive weight during the run to the Super Bowl and saying, "We are not winning with big names only. We are winning with rotation, violence, depth, and players willing to do the dirty work in the middle of the line." And I love that. I really do. Because some fans only wake up when they hear Christian Barmore, Milton Williams, Harold Landry. Of course, those guys get the spotlight. But a serious season does not survive only at the top of the roster. It survives on the third defensive tackle coming in fresh, stopping the run, pushing the pocket, fighting in the A-gap, closing space, and not letting the opposing offense breathe in the second half. Durden arrived with almost no noise, coming from that brutal path of practice squad work, short opportunities, little patience, and a lot of people assuming he would be just another body. Then he answered on the field. 30 tackles last season, 5 tackles for loss, 1 quarterback hit, and 2 quarterback knockdowns in the playoffs. Those are not superstar numbers, but that is real production from a player who showed up when New England needed actual snaps, not pretty talk. And now the situation is more serious. Khyiris Tonga left in free agency. The Patriots did not attack defensive tackle in the draft, and Durden has been working as the third guy at the position this spring. That does not happen by accident. Mike Vrabel is not handing out trust just to make people feel good. If Durden is in that spot, it is because the staff saw strength, motor, versatility, and that nasty edge a good defense needs. At 6'4", 305 pounds, he has the size to bother teams in the run game and still help squeeze the quarterback from the inside. And what fires me up is that exact combination. He does not need to pretend he is Barmore, and he does not need to take Milton Williams' place. He needs to be the aggressive complement that keeps the defensive line from dropping off when the starters catch their breath. To me, that is the kind of detail that separates a team that looks good on paper from a team that becomes dangerous in January. Durden still has to prove it. He has to win that role in camp. But if he confirms this rise, the Patriots get a cheap, physical, hungry piece in the middle of the defense. And when you find that kind of value, the next question gets brutal. How much urgency does this team have to protect the quarterback on the other side? And this is where the whole conversation jumps from defensive depth to the one thing New England cannot afford to mess up: protecting Drake Maye. The last time the Patriots were on the field, they gave up 6 sacks in Super Bowl 60 against the Seattle Seahawks. 6. In the biggest game of the season. That kind of ending does not just sting, it forces action. So New England moved fast. Garrett Bradbury was traded to the Chicago Bears. Jarrett Wilson was kicked inside to fill the hole at center. And then the Patriots went out and added Alijah Vera-Tucker on a 3-year, $42 million deal. That move may not sound as loud as a superstar wide receiver trade, but for this offense, it could change the entire temperature of 2026. Because this is not about collecting names up front. It is about giving Maye a cleaner world to work in. The Patriots allowed an NFL record 21 sacks in the postseason last year. You cannot live like that and pretend everything is fine. You cannot ask a young franchise quarterback to carry the team and then let the pocket collapse around him when the games get heavy. Vera-Tucker gives New England a first-round talent at left guard, an athletic blocker, and a veteran presence between 2 young pieces who badly need stability. That part matters. Jarrett Wilson played guard as a rookie, but center is his natural home. He played there in college. He was drafted with that position in mind, and now he gets a real chance to settle in. On the other side, Will Campbell is still trying to turn promise into full trust at left tackle. Put Vera-Tucker between those two, and suddenly the left side of the offensive line has a much clearer structure. Youth, athleticism, and a veteran who has started everywhere except center. Now the concern is real. Vera-Tucker has played only 43 of a possible 85 games since being drafted 14th overall in 2021, and he was limited during off-season work after a season-ending triceps tear. Nobody should just wave that away. But when he is healthy, he can play like one of the better guards in the league. And I liked what he said about joining a team where excellence is expected, from walkthroughs to meetings to practice. That sounds like a player who understands the standard Vrabel is trying to rebuild. The run game should feel this too. Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson had productive stretches, but there were snaps where getting back to the line of scrimmage looked like a fight. If Vera-Tucker is right, those left side lanes become cleaner, the playbook opens up, and Maye is not forced to solve every problem on 3rd and long. That is the aggressive part of this move. New England is not just patching a spot, it is trying to erase the image of that Super Bowl pass rush living in the backfield. The Patriots found their quarterback. Now the line has to start acting like his career is worth protecting. Swap the sound of phones ringing for something else. Cleats on grass, press coverage, a big receiver trying to win with power, an elite corner refusing to give up an inch. A.J. Brown's arrival in New England was already an offensive explosion on its own, but the most dangerous detail may be happening away from the headlines. He is going to face Christian Gonzalez every single day. That is competitive gold. That is not cute June practice talk. That is the kind of internal matchup that raises the level of a roster. Brown saw Gonzalez in the cornerback's debut back in 2023, when Brown was still with the Eagles. Philadelphia won. Brown produced with 7 catches and 79 yards, but Gonzalez left a mark. There was a pass breakup in the 4th quarter. There was posture. There was that irritating calm of a defender who does not panic against a big name. 3 years later, they are on the same side. And Brown is not showing up with lukewarm talk. He called Gonzalez a great player, said he wants to work against him, against Carlton Davis, and against the other corners. And he dropped the line that explains everything. When it is good on good, the margin for error almost disappears. That is exactly how serious teams get better. Not with empty praise, with daily discomfort. And for Gonzalez, this matters a ton too. Yes, the contract situation is hanging around the picture. Yes, the fan base wants that resolved, because a cornerback at that level is not found on discount. But on the field, Brown's presence is an aggressive gift. Every practice becomes an exam. Every physical route becomes a test of patience. Every contested ball becomes a reminder that in January, nobody is facing ordinary receivers. Gonzalez also spoke like somebody who understands the size of the addition. He called Brown a great teammate, said they stayed in contact over the years, and highlighted his competitive mindset. That is not small. The Patriots now have a much heavier wide receiver room and a cornerback room capable of answering. That combination creates sparks, and when sparks are controlled the right way, they become identity. I want the Foxborough read in the comments. Who gains more from that daily battle? A.J. Brown lifting the offense, or Christian Gonzalez sharpening the defense even more? To me, the ideal answer is cruel for the rest of the league. Both. Because if the best receiver on the team and the best corner push each other to the limit, Drake Maye wins, the defense wins, Vrabel wins, and the Patriots stop looking like a promise and start looking like a problem. Then we get to the name that changes the mood of any conversation in New England, Drake Maye. Because when the Patriots quarterback is nominated for Best NFL Player and Best Breakthrough Athlete at the ESPYs, that is not just a pat on the back from an award show. That is the whole league being forced to admit what the Foxborough fan base already felt in its chest last season. New England has a franchise face again. Maye did not win MVP. That went to Matthew Stafford, but he was named Air Player of the Year, finished 5th in Offensive Player of the Year voting, and was the runner-up for the biggest award in the league. Now he is listed alongside heavy names like Myles Garrett, Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Stafford himself for Best NFL Player. For a quarterback in his 2nd year as a pro, that is outrageous. And I want this fan base to understand the size of that without being afraid of sounding too excited. For years, the Patriots were searching for that player who changes the entire week. Not just Sunday, the week. The guy who makes opposing defenses lose sleep, makes coordinators adjust the plan, makes free agents look at Foxborough with a different kind of respect, makes a broken play turn into hope. Drake Maye has become that kind of name. And the Best Breakthrough Athlete nomination may be even more symbolic. Macklin Celebrini, Elisa Liu, and Fernando Mendoza are also in the race. But Maye has a violent argument. He did not just show up. He pulled a massive franchise into a different emotional state. That is different. A good young player gets people excited. A quarterback at this level reorganizes the whole building. But this is where the aggressive part of the conversation kicks in. Congratulations cannot become comfort. National recognition is beautiful, but it also raises the pressure on Elliott Wolf, Mike Vrabel, and everybody making decisions in Foxborough. If you have a quarterback nominated among the best in the league, you do not build around him like you are randomly testing pieces. You accelerate, you protect him, you give him weapons, you keep the defense strong. You avoid wasting resources on trades you do not need. You pay who needs to be paid and cut what slows you down. Maye being on that stage is pride, absolutely, but it is also a siren. New England has the hardest piece to find in the NFL. Now it has to act like a franchise that knows what it has in its hands. So today's message is simple. The Patriots are not dealing with loose details. Durden represents defensive depth that cannot be thrown away. Vera-Tucker represents the urgency to protect Drake Maye after that Super Bowl beating. Alijah Brown against Christian Gonzalez turns practice into elite warfare. And Drake Maye at the ESPYs confirms that New England has a quarterback who changes everything again. Now give me your meter from 0 to 10. How confident are you in this Patriots path for 2026? If you want to track every signal out of Foxborough, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and stay locked in right here.